Motocross is one of the wildest sports on earth. It's fast, it's loud, it's unpredictable, and it's completely addicting to watch. Riders rocket over towering jumps, slide through corners with their bikes nearly horizontal, and blast down straightaways at speeds that would make most people flinch. But what truly grabs your attention, what makes motocross unforgettable, are those jaw-dropping moments when everything almost goes wrong. A rider lands awkwardly, the front tire tucks in a corner, the rear tire kicks out, and for a split second, it looks like they're doomed to crash spectacularly. And then somehow, against all odds, they save it. They wrestle the bike back under control, regain their balance, and keep charging down the track like nothing even happened. To someone new to motocross, these saves might look like sheer miracles, like the rider just got lucky and somehow didn't hit the ground. And sure, sometimes there's a bit of luck involved. After all, motocross is unpredictable by nature. Dirt conditions change lap by lap. Bikes behave differently depending on tiny changes in throttle, clutch, and body movement. A tiny mistake can send a rider cartwheeling into the dirt, and sometimes the difference between staying up and crashing out comes down to fractions of a second. But here's the truth. When you really dig into it, most of the incredible saves you see are not accidents. They are the result of thousands of hours of practice, hundreds of crashes, deep muscle memory, and an almost instinctive understanding of physics, traction, and balance. When you compare how a beginner saves themselves versus how a professional does it, the difference is striking. Beginners react with panic and instinct. Professionals react with precision and strategy. Even when both riders manage to stay upright, the beginner often looks like they're barely hanging on, while the professional looks like they meant to do it all along. It's like watching someone stumble and trip versus watching a dancer improvise a perfect move. The surface might look similar, but the quality underneath is a world apart. When someone first starts riding motocross, the number one goal, whether they realize it or not, is survival. Sure, beginners dream about clearing big jumps and railing corners like their favorite pros. But the truth is, for a long time, just staying upright is a major victory. In those early stages, motocross feels like trying to tame a wild animal. The bike bucks, slides, and jerks unpredictably under you. Every mistake feels magnified, and the track itself seems designed to test how quickly you can lose control. It's not a matter of if you'll mess up, it's a matter of how you react when you do. For beginners, most saves happen by pure instinct. There's no time to think. If the front tire starts to slide, they yank the handlebars. If the bike bucks sideways off a jump, they might slam on the rear brake or desperately throw a leg out. Sometimes these panic reactions work, but often they make things worse. Still, once in a while, luck intervenes. A panicked rider might jam the throttle at just the right time, and somehow the rear tire hooks up and drives them out of a slide. They might instinctively shift their weight backward during a nosedive and barely avoid going over the handlebars. In those moments, it looks miraculous. But if you slow down the footage, you'll often see that beginners survive despite their actions, not because of them. One of the clearest signs of a beginner save is how messy it looks. There's panic all over their body. Stiff arms, legs flailing off the pegs, head jerking side to side. They're not in control. They're just holding on, hoping for the best. Even when they pull it off, it often sets them up badly for the next obstacle. Maybe they survive a sketchy landing, but hit the next corner totally off balance and slow. Beginners tend to ride in reaction mode, always a half step behind the bike, trying to catch up to what's happening rather than anticipating it. Another hallmark of beginner saves is inconsistency. A new rider might pull off a crazy save one lap, only to crash in the exact same spot on the next lap. That's because without deep experience, they don't really know what caused the problem or what fixed it. They're relying on random, moment-to-moment instincts, not a solid base of knowledge about traction, throttle control, body positioning, and momentum. It's like rolling the dice every time things get sketchy. In videos, beginner saves are often the most dramatic. because they are right on the edge of disaster. You'll see the front tire washing out in a flat turn, the rear tire stepping out aggressively, the rider leaning way too far forward off a jump, and somehow they suffer. It's thrilling and terrifying at the same time. And because it looks so chaotic, it's easy for spectators to believe that motocross is all just a crazy gamble with no real control involved. But that's where a deeper look reveals the truth. Beginners sometimes get lucky, but pros rarely need luck to save themselves. It's important to recognize, though, that surviving those sketchy moments is actually part of the learning curve. Every near crash teaches beginners something, even if they don't realize it at the time. Over time, they start to recognize the warning signs earlier. The front end feels light. The rear tire starts to slide earlier in the corner, or the suspension feels unsettled before a jump. Gradually, they move from pure survival mode to a place where they can start making corrections before things get out of hand. They begin to understand that motocross isn't just about reacting. It's about anticipating, adjusting, and riding proactively. For beginners, every ride is like a live fire training session. They learn the hard way, sometimes with spectacular crashes, sometimes with heart-pounding saves. And while they might look lucky in the moment, what's actually happening is the slow, painful building of real motocross instincts. The more seat time they get, the more they move from reacting blindly to reading the bike and the track. Eventually, what starts as luck turns into something more reliable, skill. And that's why beginner saves, even when they look messy and out of control, are an essential part of becoming a true motocross rider. Every flailed leg, every desperate yank on the bars, every wild recovery plants a tiny seed of experience. Someday that beginner will save a near crash, not by accident, but by making exactly the right move at exactly the right moment. And they'll make it look easy. That's when you know real progress has happened. Is there still luck? Of course. In motocross, there's always a degree of unpredictability. A hidden rock in a berm, a patch of unexpected mud, a gust of wind on a jump. No amount of skill can remove every variable. Sometimes even the best riders get caught out. But the truth is, luck favors the prepared. A beginner might need a miracle to survive a bad situation. A pro just needs an opportunity. They have the toolbox ready: balance, throttle control, clutch finesse, mental clarity. And they know how to use it under pressure.